Hi everyone, Gary A. Swaby here. It's been a while since I did a video here, but I think it's about time I start doing reviews more frequently. I think, and this is one that I really wanted to talk about. Crescent City, you know, House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. Now, when I first heard about this book, I think it was like 2 years ago, 2018. I was excited because I actually like Sarah J. Maas. Like I like her writing style. I like I like the Akotar series. A Court of Mist and Fury is one of my favorite books from her. I like fantasy. I'm a fantasy reader, and she has a very unique brand of fantasy. Of course, the target market is of course females, but I feel like there's a lot in there for males like myself to latch onto and enjoy as well. And I like her prose, and I'm a writer too, so there's certain things with writers that I really latch onto and enjoy, and I like Sarah J. Maas's prose, how she describes things. And sometimes her characters are real unique and pretty cool looking, and the book covers, of course. So yeah, I was very excited for Crescent City because, of course, when with her previous series is Throne of Glass and Akotar, they're they're aimed at a younger audience, and that's cool. When I pick up one of those books, I put my expectations in that box. That it's for a younger audience, that it's not the same as Game of Thrones or whatever. So that's completely fine, right? But then I heard that she was making an adult fantasy, and I was like, wow, I wanted to know what a Sarah J. Maas adult fantasy was going to read like. But so I guess that kind of leads to my first point about Crescent City, and just so you guys know, there might be some mild spoilers, but I will let you know ahead of time so you can pause or stop. But yeah, the first point I wanted to bring up with this, I really enjoyed it. By the way, it's 800 pages. I read it like for like a month or more, and I was never really bored. So I'll say that. But in terms of it being an adult fantasy, I I don't think it's really. I don't think it really holds up as that. Like it's really just that the characters themselves are adults, but it's written very much like her other works. So if you're going into this thinking it's going to be Sarah J. Maas, Game of Thrones or something, or it's going to be like Joe Abercrombie or something, it's not like that. It reads a lot like her other works. It's just that the characters are actually older. So I guess they're at different points of their lives. So the main character, Bryce Quinlan, she's half fae, half human. She lives with a pack of wolves, the Veneer, and she's very attached to her friend Danica. And they get up to a lot of mischief together. They party together. It's an urban fantasy setting as well. So they're in the actual Crescent City. It's the location where this takes place, and there's different species, different races within Crescent City, and there's also militant human groups, human activists, I guess, who want to get rid of the veneer and other creatures and stuff. So there's a lot of backstory in there as well, which is pretty cool. Some of it matters, some of it ends up not mattering. But yeah, so I think I can spoil this because it's pretty much in the description. But Bryce Quinlan's friends actually end up dying, and that leads to for about 2 years she's kind of mentally scarred from that episode, because they're violently murdered by demons, So somebody summoned these demons, and for a long time it's believed that it was one of those humanist groups. So Bryce, she kind of she's dormant for about 2 years. She takes a job at an art gallery, and she's trying to move on with her life. She moves to a new apartment, but she never really forgets her friends, and it really scars her that she's lost them. And I think Sarah J. Maas did a good job of setting all that up, because for a good 100 pages or so, you get to know Bryce and her friends and what she's like with her friends. There's one of them that she's actually developing a relationship with, and then all of that is just taken away from her. So then another murder happens that's similar to the murder of her friends. It happens to some vampire, and then that leads to one of the houses, I believe, or some government organization. They launched an investigation to find out what's going on and who's summoning the demons. And there's this angel, this archangel character called Hunt, and I think it's Hunter Thala or something. And he's basically he's kind of a servant slash slave. So he has a halo tattooed to his head, and it means that he must serve his master in this government faction. So he has to commit murders and do all sorts of covert things, and outside of his control, and his free will. So he's assigned to this task force, and then he has to be paired up with Bryce Quinlane. And they kind of force Bryce into the investigation to figure out what's actually going on, who summoned the demons, and basically they just unravel the whole mystery of why these murders occurred. And that's what happens throughout the rest of the 800 pages. But there's a lot of like romantic tension here between Hunt and Bryce. They're cold to each other at first, but then they learn more about each other. Bryce learns about Hunt's servitude, and the fact that he can't break away from that, and Hunt learns about Bryce and her deep emotional scars from losing her friends, and just how attached Bryce was to Danica. So yeah, we learn a lot about the characters through their bonding. There's other characters as well, because Bryce has a half brother who's Fae. He's like a Fae prince, and her dad is a Fae king, but she kind of has to hide that she's related to him. So that adds like another dimension to the story and everything. So yeah, there's a lot of layers there, and there's a lot of cool world building. We don't actually get to see a lot of it come to fruition in this book, so I'm guessing this will be a whole series and we'll see more of it flesh out. And I think it's basically leading towards like a war or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a very enjoyable read. I just think your expectations have to be in line with what it is, because a lot of people might go into it thinking this is a more mature Sarah J. Maas book. On some level it is, because they're openly cursing, they're using more curse words. Some people might be disappointed with the sexual content, because although it's an adult fantasy, there's not as much sexual content as there are in her other books, which is quite strange, because she goes all the way there in her younger novels or whatever, but in this it's kind of not as much, but there is a lot of cursing. So yeah, you just have to have your expectations in order when you go into this book. I wasn't expecting classic literature or a masterpiece. My expectations were very much in line with what Sarah J. Maas has offered in the past. I just thought that it was going to be a lot more gritty and adult, you know, in that respect. But once I got over that, I was able to just enjoy it for what it is. Some people have said things about the character range, like there's not a lot of diversity. A lot of the characters are the same. They're all beautiful looking and highly desirable, appearance wise, and I guess that is a thing here. But like I said, when I go to certain authors, I expect certain things, and that's kind of something that I'm accustomed to when it comes to Sarah J. Maas. Like I know she makes pretty looking characters. That's what she does, and there's not a lot of diversity in there in terms of appearances. I think in this book she tried to be a bit diverse with race and stuff, like skin tones and things like that. But in terms of having not good looking characters and overweight characters and things like that, like there's not a lot of that here. Like they're all models basically. They're supermodels, so beware of that also. But except for that, except for those things, I very much enjoyed Crescent City actually. There's a lot to like in there, and if your expectations are where they should be, this is actually a good read. I don't often read 800-page books, and I read this one and it never really bored me, at all. So I gotta give props to Sarah J. Maas for that. So that's my review of Crescent City. I will be doing more reviews, some manga, and just some other books that I've read lately. So look out for that stuff. But until then, peace out, people. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe.